In this video, we will be going over product and quotient rules for radicals. And so for the product rule for radicals, you could have the nth root of a times b, and then you can split it. Likewise, for quotient rules for radicals, you could have the nth root of a divided by b, and then you could also split it. And we will solve concrete problems. And so if you want to pause the video here and attempt these 5 problems, feel free. And so for this problem right here, I'm using the quotient rules for radicals, and I'm splitting the numerator and denominator. So I'm going to get the cube root of 64 divided by the cube root of 125. And I know the cube root of 64 is 4, and I know the cube root of 125 is 5. And so the answer is 4 divided by 5. So this is the next problem. And with this problem, I'm going to be using that product rule for radicals. Instead of saying the cube root of 128, I could say the cube root of 64 times 2. I know 64 could be 4 cubed, and by doing this, I have a 3 and a 3, and so I could put the 4 on the outside and say 4 cube root of 2. This is another problem. So we know the square root of 64 is 8, and we know the square root of 25 is 5, and so we get 40. Likewise, we could multiply. 64 times 25 is 1600. So the square root of 1600 is also 40. Here's a more challenging problem. So with 16, we know it's 4 squared. A raised to 7 stays the same. 25 is 5 squared. Then you have a squared and b cubed. Because 7 is odd, instead I'm going to say a raised to 6 times a. Likewise, 3 is odd, and so I'm going to say b squared times b. And since the inside piece we have both 4 squared and 5 squared, and we're taking the square root of it, instead I could put 4 divided by 5 on the outside. And here we have a raised to 6. The square root of it would give us a cubed. Likewise, a squared, and we take the square root of it, we would get a. Same for b. B squared, take the square root of it, you would get b. And so times the inside piece, which is the square root of ab. And lastly, what we could do is, so here we have an a cubed, here we have an a. Then you can simplify a little bit and say 4a squared divided by 5b times the square root of ab. Now the last problem, you have the square root of 36 divided by the square root of 4. Here we could put everything on the inside and say the square root of 36 divided by 4, which is 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. Or you could take the square root of 36, which is 6, and the square root of 4, which is 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's pretty much it for this video.